I don't know. You see this person, the co-workers that I work with, right? Um, one of them is like 20 years. He's been working in the corporate for 20 years. The guy looks tired. He looks like he doesn't like it. But I feel, and I've asked him like, have you ever wondered if you like want to make a change? Like, you know, uh, study something different or work somewhere else. He says no, it's fine here. But I feel like he's lying because he's always like every time I see him, he's like always complaining. It's like, oh man, the work never ends, and he's like a zombie walking around. It doesn't feel like he's here. He feels like he's some kind of like he's an autopilot. Feels like he's in autopilot because it's like, oh, it's just another day. We just gotta deal with it another day. And I'm just wondering if there is supposed to be a plan, if we have like this higher purpose of like leveling up and stuff. Why this? Why this system? Why things have evolved to be stuck in this stupid jobs that just don't make sense. Like you have to work to live, or but I like everybody's trying to live like live to work. Is that you're not trying to work to live. You're trying to live to work, right? I mean, it's then jobs and work is not the only thing, man. It's not the only thing. There's hobbies. There's friendships. There's relationships, connection. Like there's more to it, right? It's a like it's a whole scheme of things of what life is. It's not just work, right? It's a part of it. When you're in a relationship, there's a time when you spend with your loved ones, and then there's time where you spend it with like yourself working whatever you're passionate about, right? Although nowadays I feel like you're not actually passionate about it, it's just that you have to do it because oh, bills are due. Oh, you know. And I just want to live a life where I'm living to work, where I don't have to. Oh my god, these guys, dude. These guys are coming back. I don't have to like be worrying that I'm gonna be stuck in some job because there's bills. You have to pay for bills and stuff, and the money. I've actually said that the money is not the issue. The problem is how people manage the money. We can live in a world where money is not a bad thing. And you shouldn't actually be thinking that's a bad thing, because then you're gonna like manifest that money's a bad thing and you're not actually gonna keep getting money, right? So I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just the problem is how you get it is a problem. It shouldn't be working yourself to death. I just don't to get money. Just oh man. That's why I'm talking about purpose and what's your purpose and what keeps you moving, especially when you're on your own, living in a world like this. And being on your own is important, of course. There's a lot of, so like, you need to learn how to be with yourself. You need to learn how to live happily like that, and also have hope for the future, and not be in a negative state, because then you're gonna either attract the wrong people or you're gonna keep being in that same cycle, right? So I see being alone as a good thing. It is a good thing. You just have to see it from a different angle. You just have to, I'm saying, not saying it's easy, right? But we have to try. We just have to keep trying. There's no other thing. We just have to keep trying. We have to keep trying to see things from another perspective. I know it's not the easiest thing in the world, but I mean, we have to try. You know. Oy, I apologize. So yeah, I mean, I have a lot of questions. I mean, I have a lot of questions asking why are we here? Why do we live in a system like this? Is there actually a purpose to this? Am I overreacting? Maybe I'm just not seeing things from a different perspective, and maybe you can find a fulfilling job. Maybe there's just bad jobs and good jobs. I don't know. I just feel like I'm not actually free. I just feel like I'm not free. Like I have to do things just because I have no choice. I don't like that feeling, you know. And we're supposed to manifest this thing. We're supposed to like keep thinking because the mindset is really, really, really powerful. So you wanna manifest good things, right? Because if you're like in a state of negativity for years and years and years, and months even or days, you're like planting a negative seed in your life, and you don't wanna, you know, experience. You don't want to cause yourself problems, right? Nobody wants to do that. So even though in these videos I do tend to speak a little negative, I do want to approach it from a positive perspective, right? Um, I mean, all I can really do is just keep keep looking for answers, keep moving. That's my that's kind of my the only answer I got to certain things is just keep moving. Keep moving because you don't know what's gonna happen next. Nobody knows what's gonna happen next. It's life. It's like experiences, you know. And there's a lot of good experiences, and you shouldn't be like calculating every single step of like, oh, how, like, you know, want to be sure that this is what's gonna happen, you know. And I feel like that it shouldn't be like that, you know. It's experiences. Let yourself experience. Let yourself get surprised, you know. But I don't want to like get stuck in a negative experience. You know, one of those like experiences where you don't where like where like you just don't like, you know, you don't know how to get out of it. Or, you know, in this case, for example, in a job, let's say a job, you know, for example, we are like you're trying to find you know, a good job where you actually enjoy it, or even create something where you can get passive income. That's one of the goals that I have. I wanna do that, you know. But um, I'm not an artist, you know. I don't know how to paint. What can I possibly do to like, you know, generate passive income, sell something online? Maybe I just need to learn a skill. I mean, because art is not gonna arrive on its own, right? Or is it part of the plan? Is it part of the plan that I'm gonna get a skill? Not that it's gonna fall out of the sky, right? But it happens. Things happen. You're not like saying like, oh, money's gonna fall out of the sky. No, but things happen. They happen naturally. One day you get this idea on your head. Is like, oh, maybe I should start doing this, right? So then this happens. It was part of the plan for you to think this idea, and then you convert it into something, and now it's like your happy future. Now you can live off something you enjoy, you know. But then there's the other alternative with, what if you're trying to achieve this future where you want to live off something you want, but you end up in a place you don't want to be, and then it's hard to get that motivation back of like everything is part of the plan, or like, am I gonna get in a better place? And I'm not saying that you can't. There's no hope. Like, you know, if you get in a difficult situation, of course you can get out of anything you want, as long as you mentally say like, I will get out of it, and I will, and I will, and I will, right? But I mean, is that it? Is that probably the final message? It's all about mentality. If you get like, you know, you don't want to, but there's things that are like unavoidable, right? Well, no, never mind. I mean, for example, you need money in this system, right? You can't just make it without money. You can't just afford it like, oh, I'm not gonna work. No, man. And when you say you don't want to work, it's not laziness, for God's sake. It's not laziness. It's that you want to do something you love. You want to spend the time, your free time, wisely. You don't want to waste it in some stupid meeting, some stupid office where it's just so meaningless, dude. Everything this is so meaningless, in my opinion. So meaningless, so meaningless. At least, you know. In fact, It's gonna be meaningful. Excuse me. It's meaningful to different people. Different, like, you know, what probably for me is meaningless, probably for someone else is not meaningless. It's the whole world, right? There's no way that you can't generalize, right? That's the thing we need to. This generation needs to learn. You can't be generalizing. You can't just generalize. If you generalize, that's what you're going to see. You know, that's what you're going to live. That's what you're going to experience. All of those, by generalizing things like everything is bad, then that's what you're going to see. Everything is bad, right? I'm not saying that from now on, if you're like thinking positive, like, oh, everything's sunshine and rainbows and sunshines, right? That's not the point. The point is seeing things from another perspective and actually manifesting things, positive things. And when bad things happen, then you change your perspective. Like, you know, instead of seeing this negative perspective um as like, you know, being mad about it, or I mean, you can be mad about it, you can express your anger, right? But then you have to change it. Like, you know, this negative experience helped me in, you know, being more grateful, I don't know, or something like that. You know, like, yeah, there's always something, a learning lesson, you know. If you see it that way, the path is just gonna be easier, you know. But I start losing track of what I talk about, you know. But I mean, that's kind of, it's like, there's no excuses. It's just, there's no excuses, because, you know, we might need a job, right? There might be some things that are unavoidable, but why do we have to think that we're gonna be in a horrible job, for example? Why do I have to think that? Why do we have to think that? Why can't we just think, or yeah, why can't we just think? Excuse me, that we can. Excuse me again. That we can land on a good job, you know, with positive people, like, help people are like helping you out, or like you end up liking it. You don't have a problem waking up early and going there, right? Or maybe the schedule is very flexible and you can do it online, or, you know, gonna have to start thinking that way, because if we go on the way I was talking, like everything sucks, you kind of end up seeing that, you kind of end up manifesting those negative things, and it ends up being worse. You know, I'm not saying that you can't complain a little bit, like, kind of like express your anger for something, but as always I say, don't stay there. Look for the alternative, right? And one of the things also is, like I said before, that loneliness is not a bad thing, right? Um, Cause like, think about it. Think about it. Just think about it for a minute. I get it that loneliness is not easy, right? You might feel alone because you don't have, you don't have a partner. We are meant to connect. We are meant to have partner or friendships. We are meant for that. There's nothing wrong in feeling that you want it, right? I would suggest for you to allow yourself to feel that, and, you know, just like feel it, like kind of like manifest it, you know, like you're manifesting these people. Like, if you want friends, just imagine yourself what it would be like to have friends. Imagine it in a positive way. What would you like about, what are things that you would like to try, or experience with new people? Because that way you're like aligning your energy um, with what you want and what you want to experience. I mean, you have a lot of years ahead of you. Of course you can experience something like that. Why would you be denying yourself that you can't, right? So that's one thing that I that you can do. Like, don't see, if you're like alone, don't see it as like a negative thing. Like, turn it around. You know, it might be a time for you to like focus on yourself, which I know it's very overused. But there's, by saying that you like focusing on yourself, I don't mean like 100, like, how do I explain? By focusing on yourself, it can mean a lot of things. I feel like it can be like a lot of things. And one of the most important ones, I think, is just learning how to be happy on your own, learning how to enjoy your hobbies on your own, like learning how to be alone, right? Because that way you're like being grateful for what you have, and you're not like, because like I said, the mind is very powerful, so you're like lonely and you start feeling like sad and start like feeling, having these feelings of like depression and all. I'm not saying that you can't feel these things, right? But you should always try to turn things around. I apologize, I'm kind of concentrated here.